In this video, we are going to review some of our ratio and rates concepts to prepare for our quarter three final. So let's get started. All right, as you see here, we have our first question. A new office building will have 640 workers. A construction code requires that new buildings have 2 restrooms for every 80 workers. Based on the code, what is the number of restrooms the new office building must have? All right, so the first thing you always want to do is get your original rate. So I see my original rate is for every 80 workers, you need 2 restrooms. All right. So now, though, we need to think if there were 640 workers. So we want a new numerator of 640. And I put workers on top because in my original rate, workers is on top. It has to match. All right, so now I need to think, how did I go from 80 workers to 640 workers? Well, what I did was I multiplied by 8. And I want you guys to think. 8 times 8 is 64, so add the 0 and you would get 640. So if I multiplied the workers by 8, I'm now going to multiply the restrooms by 8. 2 restrooms times 8 is 16 restrooms. And I want you guys to notice I didn't even look at the choices over on the side. I'm just going to see if it matched, and I do see a 16. Again, I solved it before I even looked at the choices, and it just so happens that the answer that I got matched with one of the answers in the answer choice. All right, let's move to the next. A family drank 4 gallons of juice over 5 weeks. During this time, at what rate did the family drink juice? Okay, so we want to go to per week. 4 gallons. So I'm going to write my original rate. Always start with your original rate. 4 gallons over 5 weeks. And that is going to go, and we want to go to 1 week because we want to go to per week, and per means 1. All right, to go from 5 weeks to 1 week, I would divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 4 divided by 5 would give us 4/5. Because remember, another symbol for division is a fraction bar. So 4 divided by 5 could also be written as 4 over 5. So this would be 4/5 gallons per week. And that would match with option A. Again, I didn't even look at my answer choices. I just solved it and see if one matches. All right, let's go to the next. In a bag of candy, there are 3 Twix, 2 Snickers, and 5 Kit Kats. What is the ratio of Kit Kats to Snickers in the bag? So remember, a ratio is just comparing the two quantities. All right, so we want the ratio of Kit Kats to Snickers. Kit Kats goes first because it says Kit Kats first in the question. All right, so for the number of Kit Kats, we have 5. And the number of Snickers, we have 2. So our ratio would be 5 to 2, which is option C. Do not confuse it with option A. Option A would be Snickers to Kit Kats. You have to keep the numbers in order of the question that it asks. This question says Kit Kats first, then Snickers. All right, let's move forward. Miss Johnson's class has 24 students. There are 18 students in class who study Spanish. The others study French. What is the ratio of students who study French to the students who study Spanish? All right, so I'm going to first write the order of how it wants the terms. It wants French to Spanish. Okay. It says here in the problem that 18 students study Spanish, so that's going to be my second term. Now, it does not directly say how many study French, but I can figure that out. If there are 24 students minus the 18 who speak Spanish, that means that 6 study French because it says that the rest study French. So that leaves 6 to 18. However, I am going to do a little bit of a panic because when I look at my answer choices, I don't see 6 to 18. But what I do know is that I can always simplify and see if I get something that matches. So I'm looking at 6 and 18, and I know I can divide those both by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 18 divided by 6 would give us 3. And I do see a 1 to 3. So remember, if you don't see your original term, try simplifying. All right, let's move on. A mail carrier delivered mail to 84 houses in 3 hours. So I'm going to write that down. Sorry for the messy handwriting. All right. At what rate did the mail carrier deliver mail? I'm looking here and we want to go to per hour. And I always know that per means 1. So I want to go to 1 hour. 3 hours divided by 3 would give us 1 hour. 84 houses divided by 3. I don't know that off the top of my head. So I'm going to come over to the side. 3 goes into 8 twice. So I know that C and D are already out because it starts with a 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract, you get 2. Bring down the 4. 3 goes into 24. 8 times 3 times 4. 3 times 8 is 24. You get a remainder of 0. So I see 28 houses per hour. All right. And again, I know I wanted to go to 1 hour because the per hour means for 1. Let's keep moving. The graph represents the relationship between the number of hours a babysitter, that should say sitter, worked and the amount of money in dollars she earned. What is the amount of money in dollars the babysitter earned for 40 hours of work? So I'm looking here and I don't see 40 hours on the x-axis here. It only goes up to 30. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a point that I can use. And I'm going to use 10 because I know that I can go from 10 to 40 easily. On my graph, I see that I can make $80 in 10 hours. So now I need to go from 10 hours to 40 hours. I am going to do that by multiplying by 4. 10 times 4 is 40. If I multiply the hours by 4, we multiply the money by 4. 8 times 4 is 32. Add a 0 for the 80, so it would be 320. And again, I didn't even look at the answer choices. I just solved it and then found the answer. All right, we are now on our last problem. A pumpkin patch has a width of 432 inches. What is the width of the pumpkin patch in feet? So we want to go from inches to feet. I know that my conversion rate is going to be there are 12 inches in 1 foot. But we don't have 12 inches, we have 432. All right. This one here, I'm actually going to look at a vertical pattern. And I see that to go from inches to feet, we divide by 12. Because 12 inches divided by 12 gives you 1 foot. So if my vertical pattern is divide by 12, I'm going to take 432 and divide it by 12. All right. 12 does not fit into 4, so I'm going to put an X. 12 does fit into 43 3 times. 12 times 3 is 36. Subtract, you get 7. Bring down a 2. And then 12 fits into 72 6 times. So it would be 36 feet. And again, I know to go from inches to feet, I divide by 12 because there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So 432 inches divided by 12 gives us 36 feet. All right, that does it for our ratio and rates section of the study guide. We are going to stop here. Bye, guys.